I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Elkhorn Common Council to order. It's October 6th, 2025 at 5:30. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Tim Schroeder,
Here.
Peter Harvey,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody is absent, Scott McClory,
Here.
Ken Minell,
Here.
Dan Roberts,
Here. All right, we've got public comment next. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard? Seeing no one, we'll move on. Consent agenda, we've got, looks like 5 items. Would anyone like anything to be pulled out of there?
I wouldn't like it pulled out, but could we possibly move item 9A immediately behind consent agenda, please? In deference to our guest?
9A?
Yes,
Yep, we can do that.
thank you.
Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions on any of the items? Roll call, please.
Scott, did you first?
I don't
Okay,
know who did.
just me.
I think it was a tie.
Okay. Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts.
Yes.
All right, now you want to go with 9A, Scott.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's under new business. It's a discussion of possible decision regarding the 2020 to 2024 fire service numbers and impact on the 2026 cost allocation agreement with the towns of Geneva, Lafayette, and Sugar Creek. Who'd like to start with that? Chief?
Yes, sir. So when I started going through and getting the allocations together for the townships for next year, if you look at the bottom of the sheet, I think you got 2024 for fire calls just in the city, we were at 170. So total, we were at 361, which is a glaring discrepancy from the past. So I got a hold of Captain Newman from the Sheriff's Department, and in 2022, they broke out Town of Sugar Creek, Elkhorn, Lafayette, and Geneva Township into districts. So I could only go back to 22 and start pulling actual call data and numbers from the CAD system. When I did that, from what was reported in the past to what the actual numbers were vastly different. And I can't state to where the numbers came from. We don't really have access to the old system that the prior chief used. But I just, for reference, 2022, the actual fire numbers in the city of Elkhorn were 135, where they were reported at 436. 23 was 499, actual number was 159. So moving forward, I did like a 3-year rolling average from 22, 23, and 24, because we're always running a year behind. If we took those 3 numbers and used the actual numbers that were there on the fire side, our cost allocation would drop from where we were at around 60% down to 44% on the city's end. So if anybody has any questions, where I came up with these numbers, I asked Captain Newman to come in today, in case anybody had any questions on how the CAD works, how the CAD generates numbers, versus what may have been put in here. We don't know, like I said, where those numbers came from, but I asked him to come in case any of the council had questions on how numbers were dispatched by CAD and how they were tracked.
And your numbers and the county's numbers matched for 2024?
These are the county numbers, yes, sir.
Okay, because you keep track of your own too, don't you?
This is all through the CAD that's provided by the county.
Okay, so
Yes,
we're
sir.
just using county numbers. Okay. All right.
So I have a question. How is it that we don't know what the previous fire chief used?
I know what he used. You can't access it no more. It is not supported. So it hasn't been supported for about 12 years. So when you go in and try pulling a report, let's just say I try pulling a report from October of 2004, it just auto-populates stuff from 98, 99. And there's no way into it, there's no one to call to even get support for it, because it's been outdated for that long.
Well, let's hear a little more about the county system, or what you had to share with us.
Sure. In 2011, Chief, the police departments in the county all went to the ProPhoenix system. It started with the county in Elkhorn, and we used that as our CAD system, computer-aided dispatch, and then for the police side anyway, we used it for our records management system. We still continue to use it today. In 2020, when I became captain up there, one of the projects I was given was to add the fire records management system to it. And so previous to that, we had always dispatched fire calls using the ProPhoenix system, but our fire departments had never used it for a records management piece. But when the CAD generates a call, when we get a call anywhere in the county for a fire call, the CAD generates one incident number for that fire call for that department. So if it's just an Elkhorn call, it generates one Elkhorn number. That could be whether you generate an EMS call, a fire call, or you're sending both fire and EMS to the call, and it's one number. And that's where those numbers are coming from. In the chief's numbers here, during 2022, we generated 135 fire calls in the city of Elkhorn. That doesn't take into account all the ambulance calls. There's far more than that, but we generated 135 calls where we sent a fire truck to those calls. And in 2022, we began districting things out because we began a new way of dispatching calls for service. We used to just hit the buttons, tell the department that they had a call, and they chose which trucks to take. And I noticed when I came upstairs, and actually through my years on the City of Elkhorn Fire Department, I was on from 2003 to 2013, the way that we were dispatching was really inefficient. When we ran out of ambulances, because Elkhorn only has 3 ambulances, we would continue to tone Elkhorn and wait for them to tell us who to send next. The way we're doing it now is when both of Elkhorn's staffed ambulances run out, then depending on where you are in the district, it'll pull in Town of Delavan, City of Lake Geneva, LaGrange, or East Troy next to get the next closest ambulance available to the person that needs it. It depends on where it's at. And that was the reason that we went to the districting that the chief talked about, because now we can divide up the fire district into areas and send the next closest mutual aid based on what logically makes sense for the citizens and the need of the call. So that was why we were able to go into Sugar Creek, Lafayette, City of Elkhorn, Town of Geneva, and pull those numbers out, because we had gone through and districted all those. And then on the backside, in the records management piece, it allows you to go search by all of those areas and pull that information out, which wasn't set up prior to 2022 when we began starting to put all of that together.
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for your information.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming to visit us.
You bet.
Thank
If you have any more, I'll stay till the discussion's
Oh,
finished.
all righty, great. So I'm assuming this was news for the townships when this came to light.
So the townships have Sugar Creek's asked for numbers, and as of right now, I don't have my fire advisory board meeting until later in the month. So I really haven't given out any of this, because it's gonna look like, I'm not saying it looks bad, it's the true numbers, it is what it is, but it's trending way in a different direction than it has in the past. I said, but these are the honest numbers, these are the numbers that came out of the CAD system.
Did I read in the materials, in our packet, that the township numbers were adjusted too, not as significantly, but theirs weren't as accurate as they could have been?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so their numbers are lower also?
Their numbers are lower, but overall, if you do the modeling and you work it out, because the Fire Advisory Board, all their allocations are based off a 5-year rolling call average. So ours are gonna start dropping every year until it levels out. It's gonna take 4 to 5 years to level it out. And we're probably gonna be anywhere between the 40–45% mark is what we're gonna be responsible for on the fire side. Our EMS numbers are solid. We do have way more EMS calls than them. But we have a whole lot more population here and a whole lot more, elderly care homes than they do.
Anyone with questions? I don't think we're looking for any kind of decision. This was just for information purposes.
So the EMS is, you have to run a report, so we don't know what that looks like. This is just fire, right?
I have a report on this one that I did. I don't know if this was in the packet. I can't remember if I saw it in there, but that has all EMS numbers. Those are solid. Those are coming right out of Image Trend, which is another RMS system that's used for EMS.
I don't remember seeing that in the packet. What's that? Oh, it's that one? Yeah, okay. I suppose if I look and saw EMS.
So to put a pin in it, at least for tonight, I'm assuming going forward, we're gonna be anticipating getting less revenue from the townships. Is that a fair statement?
They'd be paying more.
Oh, more, just the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right, I said it the wrong way, yeah, thank you.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, apparently sitting next to you is rubbing off on me.
So you're gonna share this material with the townships, and obviously no one's happy about spending more money.
Correct. I have Captain Newman from the Sheriff's Department coming in to my advisory board meeting also, just in case, because they're gonna have a lot more questions than we had. We're going down in percentage, they're gonna be going up, so that way he can explain to them where the numbers actually came from.
All right. Well, keep us posted on that, unless anybody has anything else, we'll move on. Okay, thank you. Next, we've got a presentation by Joe Murray, and thank you for being patient and sitting through that from Ellers and Associates.
Excuse me. Good evening. Joe Murray from Ellers, proud to be the city's financial advisor. I'm sorry I sent out a memo in your packet that had a lot of information. It might have been a little difficult to read, especially with the tax impact numbers, which is probably the most important information to you. So I'll try to walk through that. And Matt, if you'll be so kind as to put it all on the board and blow it up as best you can when we get there. I was asked to look at your 2026 to 2030 capital improvement plan. The list of projects were attached as table 1 to my memo. The city's looking at roughly $32.5 million of capital improvements looking to be financed either through general obligation debt or through revenue debt. General obligation debt is debt that is secured, where the city pledges that you will levy whatever the necessary taxes are each year to make the necessary payments. Revenue debt would be money coming from your water, electric, or sewer utilities that are being used to pay for their portion of the debt. City is looking to apply for a number of safe drinking water fund loans. Those are the cheapest money, as I put in my memo, that the city could get, because that is money where the interest rates are subsidized with federal money from the EPA that flows to the state DNR, and then they subsidize the rates. So that's the cheapest money that you could borrow with the lowest interest rates. Excuse me. Based on, I'm sorry. Based on the numbers that for the projects over the next 5 years, you're looking at needing roughly $22.5 million of general obligation promissory notes and $10.6 million of safe drinking water fund loans. When we structure the debt, it can be done a number of ways. The general obligation debt can be structured to have the payments target to meet a tax impact, the tax rate impact. I call it the debt service tax rate. But the safe drinking water fund loans are set by the state, and those are level debt service. You're not in a position to change those based on revenues. It's just whatever the flat debt service is each year is what you have to levy. Based on the structuring for the schedules, Matt, if you could go to the table 23, I think is probably, or 13, I think is the one they're probably most interested in.
You said table 13?
Table 13, yes. It's that one. If you could blow that up and go far to the right, I think is probably the one that's most interesting. The other, yep.
Right. Other right.
The other right, my right. This is a table that pulls together all of your existing debt as well as all the proposed debt to finance your capital improvement plan. As I said, it plans for annual borrowings from the general obligation debt as well as the safe drinking water fund loan. You look on the far right-hand side, the general obligation debt would be secured by property taxes. If there is any water or sewer projects funded in those general obligation borrowings, the water and sewer utilities would pay their share of it, so you'd only be putting on the tax roll to support those general capital improvement projects that are supported by taxes, streets, police department, fire department, parks, those sort of things that are paid for by taxes and not utilities. In 2026, at the very top, your debt service tax rate for the city's existing debt is going to be $2.46 per $1,000 of equalized value. $2.46 per thousand of equalized value, not assessed, of equalized value. Based on the plan and the structuring, it calls for a 17-cent increase in 2027 to go from 246 up to 263, and then calls for subsequent 10-cent increases in 2028 and then in 2029 to get up to the $2.83, and then it starts to drop off. As I said, this is a plan that includes the next 5 years worth of borrowings. Each year, the annual borrowing will be structured based on whatever the target debt service tax impact is. It'll then also better reflect what your actual growth is in equalized value. I tried to be conservative in the numbers I've given you. It's based on the city's equalized value growing at roughly 2.4% a year, which is only 25% of your 5-year historical average. So I tried to be more conservative, ultimately conservative with the zero, but more conservative just because you have a lovely community and your values are continuing to grow on a very steady and strong basis. So at the 2.4%, I think the numbers here are on the high side from what they could be. The impact overall for the total plan and total debt service for all 5 years worth of borrowings and for debt service going all the way out through 2050, the total impact per $100,000 would be paying $1,664 more in taxes. That's total debt service, principal and interest, and that is the total period from 2027 through 2050. Not 1 year, that's over the entire 23-year period. If your average home is $250,000, it's 2.5 times that, or roughly $4,161. If you have a $250,000 home over that entire period of time. That's what I just want to make sure everybody fully understands. Did not look at the water and sewer rate impacts. That's a much more complex analysis than just looking at the taxes. But I know, I'm talking with Corey, you are looking at your utility rates and needing to make sure that those are keeping up with what you need to do. Also wanted to highlight as part of the plan, as general obligation debt, by statute, you're limited to having no more than 5% of your equalized value of general obligation debt outstanding at any one time. That's in principal, not principal and interest, just outstanding principal. Right now, the city has roughly $34 million worth of general obligation debt outstanding. Moving forward, based on the plan, if you could go to the table, please, Matt. Or not the table, the chart, the graph.
Is that
I think that was up in the memo, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Don't mean to make you bounce around. This chart shows, the purple line is the percentage of your debt limit that is out there. The orange line represents the 5% maximum amount of principal that you can have, and the bottom brown is the existing debt, and the green would be your new general obligation debt. It goes up, and you would see it does comply with statute all the way through. You're not in any problem meeting the 5%, but the city does have a more restrictive policy of 65% of the statutory limit. So you do have a stronger or lower threshold for debt that you can issue. You see that the maximum percentage that you get is at 2028 at roughly just under 60% is where it peaks. So you are in compliance with the city's 65% policy, so you're within that, have the capacity to finance this plan. What is important to keep in mind is the fire station that has been in discussions for many years. It is in your capital improvement plan as a future borrowing of roughly $13.5 million. Whenever that does come up, it'll need to be looked at as far as your geo debt capacity at that time. But you do have capacity for the your next 5 years worth of capital improvement plans and the financing plan to accommodate it. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Joe, just for clarification for the council, our policy says that 65% is the goal, to just try to stay under 65%, but the policy technically says 75% is the max, so I just wanted to clarify that.
I'm
So-
sorry, I thought it was 65%.
Well, we typically refer to it as a 65, because it says that's the goal, is to stay under 65, but technically the policy says it can go up to 75, but I'm not advocating that, I'm just saying that for clarity.
Anyone have any questions for Joe? No? Thanks for the info. Next, we've got the report of city officers. For the mayor's report, I would just like to appoint John Gunyon as chairman of the Historic Preservation Committee. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? John Gunyon's the new chair, and we'll move on to Adam.
Just real quickly, just a reminder, we have an F&J committee meeting on Thursday at 5:30. We are going to be on that side. There's going to be a planning commission meeting here at 6, so that's going to be a little bit, a couple of our, well, at least one of our F&J members will have to get up briefly, come over here, handle that meeting, and come back, but it was a last-minute planning commission ad. As you may have seen, there was limited road impacts to on South Lincoln Street due to them finding apparently that there was a water and sewer connection that they weren't aware of. So I know they're doing further investigation on that. So they may not have as much work that they have to do under South Lincoln Street as was initially anticipated. So that would be beneficial. So in case you're wondering why there's no major road impacts today, that's why. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. They found 2 stubs that actually Nate discovered in an as-built that we had on file. So they started looking for those today instead of digging out the road. So
That's great.
And just want to thank again DPW for giving the tour to the Elkhorn Career and College Academy Youth Build, as well as I know the fire station or the fire department's working on a coat drive for the next month from October 1st to November 1st. Those coats can be dropped off at the fire station. And then lastly, we did issue the preliminary building permit start for the first Creekside building, so that should be going here shortly. So yeah, I think that project is moving forward. That's it for me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Next, we've got unfinished business. We've got discussion regarding the proposed 2026-2030 capital improvement plan. I saw there were in the packet, there were some adjustments made. Does anyone have any questions, any comments? Nope. Capital improvement, I'm sure it'll be up again, won't it? All right, we'll move on to new business. Item B is a discussion and possible decision regarding proposed resolution 2025-28, a resolution authorizing transfer of funds from the general fund to the solid waste fund.
And this is just evening up the books. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes. Resolution passes. Next, we've got discussion and possible decision regarding consent to assignment agreement with GFL Solid Waste Midwest LLC with regards to the city's current solid waste handling and recycling agreement.
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Okay, members of the council, just a couple things to point out, and I did talk with Matt earlier today about the assignment document. He didn't express any concerns with the assignment happening, either with the existing company or the company that is being assigned to. Just a couple pieces that this contract is a relatively new contract in January 1st of 2024, and that it's a 5-year contract, and there's a 90-day notice, or at least 90-day notice from the contractor to the city to the expiration of that 5 years, so that you could evaluate whether you would want to renew again for 1-year increments or some other longer term that would be negotiated at that point in time. But just wanted to mention, I did take a look at it. It's a pretty standard assignment form.
Any further discussion? Do we need a roll call on that? For assignment? Yeah. Roll call, please.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we've got discussion of possible decision regarding J.R. Stelzer change order number 1 for overflow pipe and wear modifications of $9,125 as part of the Centralia Water Treatment Plant Reservoir Rehab Project.
I make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Roll call, please.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we've got a discussion of possible decision regarding J.R. Stelzer change order number 2 for additional sediment removal not to exceed $17,000 as part of the Centralia Water Treatment Plant Reservoir Rehab Project.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
The only thing I would add is that this was needed because, prior to, due to the condition of what the reservoir was with the, roof having fallen in and the pipes and the beams, they really couldn't get a good look into what the, bottom layer looked like. So it was due to the faulty condition, and there was more sediment on that bottom than really is typical. So that's the reason they didn't get a good look at it beforehand, so.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we've got discussion of possible decision regarding payment application number 7, the final payment from Rock Road Companies for the Northeast Water Treatment Plant Sewer and Water Extension Project in the amount of $25,483.62.
I'll make that motion to approve that payment.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Roll call, please.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we have a discussion of possible decision regarding payment application number 9, also the final payment from Shearer Construction for the Bayman Park Shelter in the amount of $33,143.22.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Is it okay if I?
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure that the council understood the circumstances surrounding this payment application, that we didn't receive formal approval or direction from our architect on that.
I don't follow you.
So typically, for any one of our projects, we have a consultant that would administer the contract. They would get the payment applications, and then they would submit those payment applications to the city for approval or execution. We did not get one from Kehoe Henry for this payment application number 9, but it's been sitting out there for a very long time. So I included some background information in the packet, but I just want to make you aware of. I think it should be in here. Yeah, it goes back to April 16th. I asked him if he'd be making a recommendation to pay the remainder by sending a payment request. And then he says he'd get one out early May, and then early May had passed, so I asked for an update. He provided an update in June saying it would be a couple more weeks, and I still haven't got one, and here we are in October. So I'm suggesting we proceed with this payment application to pay our contractor and close this project out. The contractor is issuing us a credit of $2,600. I know that Bill Henry states that because it went beyond a certain amount of time, that he believes that he's due money and he's planning on submitting an invoice, but I've not yet heard from his office. With the delay that we've had, I wouldn't make that recommendation to council, but I just wanted to mention it to make sure you guys were aware of the circumstances of this pay request. Do you have any more questions for me about that?
Didn't we have some problems with him?
Yeah, we've had a number of issues.
That's what I thought.
Yes. Surrounding this project, I mean, it goes back to the site grading where it was off, so the grades need to be adjusted. We've also had issues with other things that we've had issues with. There's been several circumstances.
That's what I thought, yeah.
We never had a problem with the contractor.
No, Shear's been great to work with.
Is your recommendation going forward that maybe we should take another look at that contract and put it on for a future agenda regarding that vendor, architect?
Yeah, we don't have any projects currently slated with that firm.
Okay,
So-
fair enough.
I think
All right.
if one comes up though, we
Yeah.
definitely have to take a look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
Put a
I
pin
totally
in it.
agree. Absolutely.
Thanks to Shearer for being so patient, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a while. So-
Yeah.
And they offered a credit too, so I thought that was, worthy.
Okay.
We had a motion and a second, didn't
Yeah.
we? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we're going to adjourn to a closed session after I read my little statement here. The common council may entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. It's a discussion regarding Welcomette response to the city's application for new sanitary sewer connection for Creekside Community Development and Welcomette's communication regarding upcoming application for new sanitary sewer connection for Sugar Creek Ridge Homes. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
You got a motion and a second? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Motion passes. We will be reconvening into open session. Okay, we're reconvening into open session. It's 6:45.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second. We got a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.